Okay, so thanks for joining me. So today I'm going to be tying a dark mackerel. It's an old traditional wet fly pattern, and the hook I have in the vise is a Kamasan B175 size 10, and the thread I'm going to be using is Uni Thread Red. So we're just going to catch on behind the eye and lay a nice base of thread down our shank. So what you want is touch and turns, just using the tag of thread for each wrap to slide down and keep nice and tight. Just taking our thread somewhere between the point and the barb, and then I'll just break off the waste thread. So for the tail of the fly I'm going to be using some golden pheasant Tippet, which I have here. It's dyed hot orange, just a slight variation from the original, but I just prefer the hot orange to the standard original. So we'll just pull off 8 or 10 fibres, a couple of loose turns, and tighten down in for our tail. See how that looks, not too bad. Splayed out okay. So we'll just come in with my scissors, trim off what I won't need, and then just tidy up with my thread, bringing everything back up just to cover those loose ends. Now for the rib, I'm going to be using some Uni French oval gold. So I'll just take 6 inches or so of that, and I'll catch it in on my side, and just the same as when we whipped on, using a rib to let our wraps of thread slide down, trying to keep a nice smooth even body. And we'll just bring that down to where we tied our tail in. Now for the body of the fly, I have some red holographic. This one's wide, it just helps. The wider, oh hang on, is that one the wide? No, it wasn't. Just grab it now. There we go. This is the one. So Veevus, red holographic and large. The other one must have just been lying on the table. So we'll trim some of that off, and then just come in at the end and cut a taper into it. That'll just help our first turn of thread, or our first turn of body, sorry. Just help everything lie well. We'll bring our thread back up, and then overlapping turns with our body, working it up to the head of the fly. It's just a little bit squeaky going through my fingers, but I want to keep plenty of tension on it. So now that we're up at the head of the fly, just a few wraps to tighten, secure it down, front and back, and then I'll just twist the vise slightly to come in and trim off. Just at this point I'll take a few wraps of thread just to make sure everything's well bound down, so it doesn't slip. So for this fly we're going to add a Palmered Hackle. So for that Hackle I have it's a cock saddle, and it's one that I've dyed Claret. So we'll just take a few of the fibres off to open up the stalk, and we'll catch that in. Plenty of turns just to tie it down nice and secure. So to palmer this, we'll take 2 turns or so at the head, 2.5 maybe, and then open turns, working our way down the fly, just depending on how bushy you want it. It just kind of dictates the turns. If you want it sparse, open the turns right up. If you want it quite bushy, bring them in a bit tighter. So once that's down to the tail, we catch the hackle in with our rib, and again open turns, bringing it back up, just weaving it in between the fibres, trying not to get anything pointing forwards. It can be a wee bit tricky, but you just take your time and weave it in between all the fibres. So we'll come in with our old scissors and trim off our waste. Fold any of those fibres back that are sticking forward and just bind them back down, just to tease them back a bit. There we go. And then for the waist of our hackle, you can either come in with your scissors nice and close, trim it off, or it should just pluck off. Just take a couple of seconds and try and tease some of these fibres down. That's quite good there. Now for our wing, I have a nice well marked bronze mallard feather here. So I'll just take off a lot of that fluff, the rubbish we don't need, and then just try and tease the tips out. Get that in the camera there, just so they're relatively level. Doesn't have to be perfect, but and tear off. Well, took quite a bit of the stock with it, so I'll have to come in and trim that off. So if you've got the stock on it, it won't really fold very well. It's hard to get it to stay still. It'll always want to open back up again. So I'll just come in with my scissors and trim that off. Now, as you can see, the tips are still reasonably straight. So I'm just going to fold it in 3. So 1/3 it in and the other third over the top. So that gives us a nice rolled wing. Just checking those tips are still reasonably well lined up and there's nothing sticking out too much. So I think we'll take that side as the top. It's relatively flat. We'll just lie it down over the top of the fly, probably going about halfway down into your tail. At this point then, just pinch it over the eye. And a wee hackle fibre caught in there, and then over the top with a pinch and loop and pull up. Over the top, pinch and loop, pull up. We'll just do that 3 times, and then we'll put a few tighter turns on. So let's just see how that wing looks. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm reasonably happy with that. So again, just pulling all our fibres back, a few more turns of thread just to tighten everything down, secure everything, and then coming in as close as we can with our scissors. There's another wee fibre there, so we'll trim that off. Now we're going to finish this off with, this is another Claret hackle, but this time it's a hen taken from a saddle, or no, not a saddle, sorry, taken from a neck. So again, just bare up the tip, catch it in my hackle pliers or the stock. Making a bit of mess of this evening. Open up our tip there. Trim off and just get a couple of turns of thread onto that to hold it in place, and then stroking the fibres back. You want to come in, touch and turns, and again just as many as you feel necessary. I suppose a lot depends on the quality of the hen hackle you're using, how webby it is. This one's quite good. It's a genetic hackle, so the stalks are really fine. You don't have to worry about adding too much bulk. Just concentrate then on folding the fibres back, and then when you think you've got enough on it, 2 or 3 turns and come in and trim off your hackle. There's a wee fibre there, you can see it in the camera, so I'll just pull that back and then we'll build our head up. Maybe just put an extra 1 too many turns on that, but I think I'm going to get away with that. Yeah, we'll just build our head up, just kind of touch and go there whether I was going to get everything tied in. You kind of run the risk of them when you get to this stage and you let it go. The bobbin will slip off the eye and a lot of it will unravel, but I think we've got away with that one. So then just come in with your whip finish tool and whip finish off. So here we have a dark mackerel. Great wee fly. Definitely one I like for night fishing. Like I say, I would use it quite often for sea trout or dolphin. For me it's a top dropper fly. I like the way it's the Palmered Hackle. It's quite bushy. Puts a lot of disturbance in the water. We'll just finish this off then with a couple of coats of varnish and then it's ready for the water. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and I hope I didn't bore you too much, make too many mistakes. So if that one had another coat of varnish, that's it ready for my box. So once again, thanks a lot for watching and hopefully see you again.